so nice for you to be here with me today. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to have a recipe that I am dedicating to a wonderful friend of mine named Judy, who had a really special birthday party for me when I was feeling very sick. And she made this fantastic honey beer bread, and it goes with so many things. So that's what we're going to make today. So I hope you'll join me making honey beer bread. It's going to be fun and it's super easy. Okay friends, so I have all my ingredients together and I'm just going to show you what we need. So I've got some flour, baking powder, Parmesan cheese, grated cheddar. I won't need all of this. Onion powder. This is the stuff that I made fresh the other day. It's so yummy. Fresh dried parsley. Salt. I'm using pink Himalayan sea salt. Garlic powder. And secret ingredient, 2 beers that hubby doesn't know I'm taking. Well, until he watches the video, because it's really funny. He watches all my videos, which is really cute. But then he'll figure it out. I don't think he'll notice. So that's all we need for that. I have to run downstairs and get more flour, and then we're ready to go. Okay, so the only thing that I adapted to this recipe is I'm adding a tablespoon of onion powder, but other than that, this is her recipe. So what we're going to do is before I start, I just greased 2 pans and 2 of the loaf pans. So I got those ready. And what we should do first is set the oven to 350. So I'm going to go do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so my oven is now at 350 and we're just going to get started. So the first thing that we're going to measure out is, because it's making 2, and you'll get to know I don't measure perfectly ever. I always eyeball things. I always have, and I've always adjusted as I go. So the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm just using regular unbleached flour. Nothing extra fancy, just the plain stuff. And flour is getting crazy expensive. So 2 tablespoons of baking powder and maybe just a tip. I want them to rise really nice. Okay, so 2 teaspoons of salt. This I'm not gonna OD on for sure, but we want it to have some flavor. And what else do we got here? The onion, let's get that in there. We want 1 tablespoon. You can whip this up really fast to go with a meal. And the interesting part is that there's no eggs in it, so it's super easy, and it's just like a quick bread. So okay, I've got the flour, baking powder, salt, onion powder. We're going to save the parsley and the garlic for the topping. So now all we're going to do is we're going to mix this up first, and then we'll go to our next step. Okay, so now I've got my butter melted, and we're going to go ahead and put in approximately half a cup Parmesan cheese. It's not going to hurt anything if you put extra in. It's going to be so good. So good. And this is the time. It's so fast, you guys. It's going to pair so nicely with what I'm making tonight for supper, which is homemade mushroom soup. I can't wait. Now, I am going to make sure this isn't clumpy though. So I'm going to add 4 cups grated cheddar. You don't need to use 4 if you don't want to. It's a lot, but that bread tasted amazing. And it's so moist, it's just unbelievable. So that's 3 and a bit. 3, almost 4 cups. I can already smell all the stuff together. Yum. Yum, yum. Okay, let's give this a little bit of a stir and get everything incorporated. And then we'll keep going to our next step, which is adding the butter and the beer. Look at that, so easy. This one's really quick. And you could make it, you're gonna heat the oven to 350 and you're gonna bake it for approximately 45 minutes, maybe a titch under, a titch longer, depending. I've got mine on convection, so we'll see. It doesn't really seem to make a difference for my oven that much in the temperature, but that's just what I always use. And I still follow normal times. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a little well, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take half a cup. Oh, didn't quite get all enough. Okay, that's about half a cup butter. And this is the part where, sorry, dumping your favorite beer. I don't know what this does with the baking powder. Whoa, that's pretty cool. I might give this a little bit of a stir before I get that other one in there. Sure smells good. And there's going to be no alcohol in this bread. It's cooked off, like you don't have to worry. It's like cooking with wine. You're not getting any alcohol in it if you've simmered it off. And this is going to be baked on, so. Okay, I'll get the other one. There is that slight beer flavor and it just makes it so good. Now, if you didn't want to use beer, you could use something else. You could probably use milk, I'm guessing, would be fine. But just the beer, this is the recipe. If your thing, you make it with milk and it doesn't turn out, don't blame me. You have to use the beer for my recipe. Okay, ooh, that's looking really good. So easy. Once I get this mixed up, what we're going to do is we're going to just simply put it into the little loaf pans and then make our butter parsley topping, which is going to be delicious. Okay, it's almost mixed up. I've got to grab a spatula to get this off the spoon. Okay, there we go. These wooden spoons are so nice to mix with. And I'm just doing this by hand. You could put this in the KitchenAid, but if you over mix it, it's gonna be ruined. Sometimes you can really ruin these quick breads by over mixing and it makes them tough. It's kind of like pierogi dough. There's a real science, and I can't wait to show you one day when we're gonna make pierogies. But the dough can get tough really quick. And I use my grandma's famous recipe that is called sour cream with this famous sour cream dough she uses, and it's just so good. Okay, that's looking really good. It's not quite blended, but almost. Yeah, there we go. So that didn't take long at all, like a minute. There's a little bit of flour there. Okay, it's because of the cheese that otherwise it probably would have blended up easier. Okay, so now we're gonna split this into two, and we're gonna put them in the loaf pan, and then we're gonna make our topping next. Oh my goodness, you guys. Oh, I almost forgot another major ingredient, which is honey. We're going to be putting honey in here, so I'm just gonna warm it up slightly and add it to the batter. But don't forget, so that will be, let me look. We are going to use half a cup of honey. So don't forget that. And sometimes I'll probably incorporate warmer. So I'm just gonna incorporate it in my dough and then put it in, and we'll get it in the loaf pans. Look how lovely these look in the dishes. They look so good. So what I did is, I split the dough in half and I put them in the greased baking pans. So now we're going to make the topping. These look so good. Okay, so we're just gonna set these aside for a minute, and I've got my melted butter, parsley, and roasted garlic, dried garlic. So all I want to do is use half a teaspoon of that. I've got the rest of the butter melted, and I'm just going to give this a shake, like probably a quarter teaspoon, and give that a stir. Just move those. And then let's put the coating on the top. That's gonna be so good. So normally you're gonna put the honey in right when you put the beer in, melted. It was no big deal, went in fine, but that's the stage that is the correct stage to add the honey. And it will all blend a lot easier. This was fine. If you did what I did and forgot something, just add it in, no big deal. That's so good. So that's the remaining butter from the recipe that it calls for. You're gonna put half a cup in the recipe and half a cup on top with the garlic and parsley mixture. So this looks so good. If you could just smell that. I'm gonna get that going, and let's pop it in the oven. The oven's preheated at 350. These guys are ready to go in. Super good if you serve them warm. I'm gonna put the timer on for 40 minutes and check it, because it says it's supposed to be ready between 40 and 50 minutes. So then we'll go and see what happens. I seem to have made a really big mess in the kitchen today because of my mixing, flicking flour everywhere. So I'm gonna give the kitchen a quick clean up, and then I'm gonna get started on my homemade mushroom soup, which is gonna be so good. I've made this recipe so many times. It's really, really good. And it's gonna go amazing with the honey dishwasher. No, we don't. We actually chose that, and we just preferred to wash our dishes by hand. And we find it enjoyable, and I frankly find it kind of therapeutic. So that's just thought I would mention that in case somebody noticed. Well, that was really minimal cleanup because it was made in one bowl, so it was so quick and easy. So now I'm just gonna gather all of my ingredients for the homemade mushroom soup so I can get started on that. Okay, so I've got my big pot. This is my favorite soup pot. Lots of fresh mushrooms that are already cleaned. I've got my heavy cream, half and half, and I might use some milk, but I'm not sure. Real butter, beef bouillon and chicken bouillon. I'll see what I'm gonna do. Onion powder, parsley. I don't know if I'm gonna use that. Well, I'm gonna wait and see, but probably. And 3 boxes of low sodium chicken broth and some dry wine. I was going to use this white wine, but I just smelled it and it's so super fruity that I don't want to use that. You need to use a dry wine, and white or red, both will work. So I found a nice, really dry red wine. So that's what I'm going to do. And then if I have any other ingredients that I missed, I'll figure it out as I go. So the first thing I want to do is get all the mushrooms, garlic, and onion chopped up. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to get 4 teaspoons of oil in our pan and some butter, and we're going to get that melting on the stove. Okay, so first I'm going to chop up this garlic, and you probably saw me doing the whole head of garlic. Now I always do that. If I'm going to peel garlic, I always peel the whole head at one time, and then I dice it up and I put it in a little, whatever I don't need, I put in a baggie in the fridge, because then I don't have to peel it for my next recipe. But you can just peel what you have if you prefer. But if I'm going to chop it all up, I want to do a lot at once. So what I'm going to do is chop this up, the garlic, set half of it aside, so probably 6 cloves. I'm gonna 6 cloves I'm probably gonna use for the recipe, and put the rest in the fridge. And then I'm going to puree the onions, because remember, we gotta hide the onions here. But if you don't have to hide the onions, you can just chop them whatever size you like for your soup, and get them ready. And then we're gonna put them in the butter oil mixture to start sauteing. Spatula. So it didn't make that much, but still, I didn't have to finally dice and chop all that. So that's nice. So I'm going to use half of this. And it doesn't matter if there's a little bit left in here, because I'm just going to do the onions next here anyway. So with those guys, we're gonna do them really, really fine, because we don't, like I said in my other video, everybody loves the flavor, but I got some fussies who don't like the texture. It doesn't take very long and we're done. Just check that. Okay, there's some big pieces in there. I think I'm going to cut this piece up. Try and get it to go smaller. There it goes. So I'm making more of a puree with mine. Like I said, with however, blend yours however you like. So this, I don't want it watery and disgusting, but I want it still chunky and, but not so obvious. You know what I mean? So let's go and throw that stuff into the pot on the stove. Okay, so I'm gonna add half of that garlic and I'm gonna put the other half in the fridge in a baggie. Save it for the next recipe. And then I'm gonna put both these kind of semi-pureed onions in here. And I've got this on low. I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit. And I'm gonna get my spatula so I can get all of this goodness out. That's something my grandma taught me all the time, was you always spatula everything out. You never let any of this, put this food, stuff dirty dishes with cooking with the ingredients in it. Be lazy and don't wipe it out really good. So she taught me that, so that's what I do every time. So now I'm just gonna give that a stir. I think it's already smelling good, and I'm gonna get the mushrooms chopped up. Okay, since my mushrooms are all clean and washed and dried, I'm gonna try and do them in the food processor. So I didn't wash it perfectly from the onions again, but let's see what the slices will look like. If they're good, then otherwise I will, if they're not the way I want them, I'll hand chop them. Let's see. Oh man, those are so perfect. I'm definitely using this. This is like my new best friend. Saves so much time, it's crazy. I'm not sure how many mushrooms I have here, but I think I bought 4 of the small packages of mushrooms. Oh wow, this is gonna be good. Okay, this is looking good. I've just added the mushrooms into the garlic butter and just getting them. I'm gonna turn that up a little bit. Get this all sauteed together. It's smelling so good in here. And I don't even mind that the food processor chopped these, like there's a lot of big pieces of mushrooms, but a lot of little pieces, because that'll make really good flavor. Really good flavor for our broth. So now I'm just going to add 4 teaspoons of thyme, maybe 3. Yeah, 3 teaspoons of thyme. That's good. And probably like 2 cups of red wine. And you can use your white dry wine or red wine, whatever, as long as it's dry. So let's see, that's about 1.5. That's about 2 cups right there. Okay, get this all stirred up. So I'm gonna let that come to a simmer, or like a little saute. Slight saute, and get those flavors going. And then I think we'll add the chicken broth. Okay, before I do anything else, I'm actually going to add my cup of flour onto the mushrooms. And I'm going to stir that up first. And because I'm making quite a big batch, I might add a little bit more. Yeah, I think I'm going to. I just wanted to see how it blended in. So I'm just going to add another half a cup. Because I like it thin, or thick, but not too thick. We have to add that before we add the broth or anything, because we don't want to add it later and get chunks of flour, because that would be not good. Okay, now we can get to adding the chicken broth. So I've got 3 boxes of low sodium. This is just no name, you can use anything. Usually I buy the roasted garlic one, but you don't have to. You can use whatever one that you want. Just make sure you get that flour worked in there really good first. So there's one. We'll see what we get here with how much broth we get with the third, because we still have to add cream, and I like to add a little bit of milk as well. So because I'm going to add more chicken broth, but in a different variety. I'm going to use my favorite better bouillon chicken broth, because that's my absolute favorite and it's way better. It's going to be so good, you guys. That's going to go so good with the bread. So, oh, I just checked the bread and it looks amazing, but I put it in for 5 more minutes. So that would be 50 minutes so far. So this is what my favorite chicken bouillon looks like. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a heaping scoop of that. I don't know why I say that, because I always use 2. But we're going to put 2 heaping scoops of this in there. And we want to let this simmer first. I do got the cream out. I wanted to see how much I have. So let's let this come to a simmer, and then we will add the other stuff. But I want it to get some flavor. So I'm just going to add my pepper now, probably half a teaspoon. And same with my salt. Probably half a teaspoon, and I do want to add parsley. This just makes such good flavor, so I'm going to use about a teaspoon of parsley, and it looks so good. This stuff's so freshly dried, I should say. Okay, so this is quite a large pot, and we're going to still need to be adding cream and milk to this and some other ingredients, so you don't want to overflow your pot. So if you're doing this as a big batch like mine, you want to, what is that? Oh, mushroom. Funny looking mushroom. You want to use your biggest pot, otherwise split the recipe in half, because it is quite large. So the bread is ready, and I can't wait to show you. So it just took a little bit, like 5 more minutes, but oh, look at that. That just looks so good. And this is gonna go amazing with our cream of mushroom soup tonight. So we got the whole meal all organized already. Oh, those look so good. Yum. I'm just gonna give this a stir. See how it's coming along. Smells just great in here. And this is coming together so nice. I can't wait to be able to give it a taste. and I can smell the thyme, and that wine just really adds a nice element to it, and it doesn't make it red if you use red wine. And you know what? I want to add one more thing that I didn't put in earlier, which is 2 tablespoons of homemade onion powder, but you can use any onion. I just cut into the bread loaf, and look how lovely that is. You can see the cheese in there and everything. So it's gonna be so yummy. So I cut it a little bit warm just to see the inside, and it looks amazing. So it's gotta cool a bit more, and then I'll cut it up for supper. So our soup is simmering away, and it's gonna be a really yummy supper for a cool, cozy warm day because it's chilly outside. And I'm gonna let this simmer for like 45 minutes to really get the flavors going, and then that's when we're gonna add our liter of half and half cream milk. You can use whatever you like, whatever you prefer. So it's smelling so good in here, and the bread came out. I'm just waiting to slice it a bit more, and I can't wait to eat tonight. Okay friends, so I've been stirring this for like a few minutes on and off, but it's been simmering now for like 45 minutes, so it's time to add the cream. And I'm just using a liter of half and half, but you can use whatever, like I said, that you prefer. And that just gives it that yummy base. Now you saw that I just added the secret ingredient, the beef bouillon, because normally you just use chicken in here, but giving it a little bit of the beef, it just does some extra yummy flavor that you think it wouldn't be good to combine the chicken and the beef, but it's really, really yummy. So now I'm gonna put this on really low because I don't want it to burn. That would just ruin everything. And I'm gonna let that simmer for a while, and then it's pretty much done. So then I will serve it with the bread, and it's gonna be pretty delicious. Okay, it's been simmering for another half an hour, and it's ready. I'm gonna dish this soup up. It looks so good, I can't wait. So thank you to Judy. This dinner looks amazing. I can't wait to eat it. Yum, look at that. It's gonna be good. So you guys can make that in like an hour and a half and have your whole dinner ready. And it's just such a wonderful, easy recipe. So I will link the recipe below in the description box, but thanks for being here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye friends.